our yard also we've got to know it so well that it become part of us. That when the yard is not clean, you don't feel good. You just feel. So once we clean the yard, and yeah, everybody feels good. It's just kind of a because it's you don't clean it, everything's overgrown, and it's not an easy task to keep at it, but it's also that's how you keep being in a good health. It's like on the islands, it's like you gotta work for your food, because there's no stores. There's nowhere you're gonna store the food. You go today to catch a fish for today's meal, or this morning's meal, and you save the rest for some other day. And I think that's part of the sustainable things that you learn growing up on a small, little, tiny island. But every resource is super important. Hee-haw! Or a big one.
Oh, wow.
I've seen it with my own children. We send them out to the garden while we're cooking. Hey, go pick, go harvest some herbs or kale or chili peppers or different things, and they have to know how to harvest that. But it has given our children a sense of identity. But you connect when you produce the food that you're eating. It's just there's something that feeds the soul with that it isn't just the $5 that I'm saving on eggs, but it's that those eggs came from our chickens and from our property.
I guess one of my biggest purpose, you want to call it, is to be able to live off the land. And whatever I'm able to plant, I'll harvest. And I don't really need to be so dependent on what I have to go and buy from the store. And that's the thing, the legacy, so to say, that I want my kids to have and to learn. But a lot of times the taste bud is more toward what you can buy. Like, oh, why don't we just have a French fries? That's way better than the potatoes that you can dig up from the ground. But it's healthier to have that. And then, when we harvest and we see lots of that, we're like, oh, that was worth. Forget about all the aches and pains. Oh, we're happy to see the harvest. I came here to go to school at Manoa, and I ended up coming down to Hilo, and I love it. And so while in Hilo, I try to bring a little bit part of my culture over here, and sometimes it's hard because you're far away from your island, from Micronesia. And so I try to bring that part, gardening, planting, these plants that give me the flowers to make lace, which is one big part of the culture. And in doing so, I hope that my kids, by seeing it, they can learn a little bit of that culture that is not part of them at the moment because they're far away from home. I'll have my whole day activity, but then in the evening I'll come and just pick, and I'll just produce a lot of lace, from there. And then of course there is this Puakinikini. I love it. It's one of the easiest lei that I make.
Cultural trees, they not only feed us, but they're also part of our traditional skills, like knowing how to carve, knowing how to pick the root. Is all about knowing the type of tree that it is too. Because without the trees, people start losing all this traditional knowledge of building canoes, building paddles, because there's nothing to carve with. And the climate change and all this more intense storm coming through the Pacific is destroying a lot of these trees, and then they're not growing back on their own fast enough to be viable for material usage. So part of the reason why we are doing be part of this project is to share knowledge and information on how to live more sustainably as a community.
and having home gardens and doing growing our food at home is a great way to live a more sustainable and more healthy life by staying connected to our natural world, increasing food security, and save money as well. And as a Pacific Islander, for me, it is important to perpetuate this my traditional sustainable practices that involves planting trees such as breadfruit, coconuts, and all these important agroforest crops that are super important to island communities, especially in the Pacific, where a lot of these islands depend immensely on their natural environment, and part of that is all these important culture trees that provide livelihood and for the future provide a more resilient resiliency for livelihood on small island communities and for communities across the Pacific Ocean.